Thanks, Anita. It can fail without warning and leave you stranded. The cost of replacing a fuel pump is on the rise, at least in some models, and our auto guy Brian Bowersock of West Escondido Autos here with what you need to know before you head to the repair shop. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in and bringing so many great things for us to look at.
Absolutely.
Now, from model to model, does it vary a lot how much you're going to pay for a fuel pump?
The later model cars kind of run together. Obviously, there's certain models that are more expensive. You get into European cars and things like that. But the cost of replacing them obviously has gone up. We've gone to a lot of modular designs on things, such as this pump here is actually what we call a fuel pump module.
So this is the actual fuel pump itself?
Correct. It goes in the fuel tank. It's loaded from the top of the fuel tank. It has an electronic pump in it that supplies the pressure out to the engine. It also has a sending unit in it, which in turn makes your gas gauge. It's what tells the gas gauge how much fuel's in there.
Okay.
So, and that's why they call it a module. Everything's together. And when one part of it fails, the whole thing has to be replaced.
So you're just going to take the whole thing out. Now, these, I have to say, these don't even look like the same thing, but you said these do the same function.
Same function. This is an older style pump. Obviously, they were a lot cheaper. They bolted on the side of the motor. They were used with carbureted cars, not fuel-injected cars. We've done away with those. There's no carbureted cars produced anymore. 1985, 86, up through 89 were the last ones with the imports of carbureted cars. We don't have those anymore. This is actually a fuel filter that filters the fuel that comes out before it goes to the motor.
Okay.
And then this is an electronic pump also, a different design. If the pump could just be replaced inside some of these, they can, which is obviously cheaper. But most cars have gone to the module design.
So why is it more expensive? I know it just seems like everything is more high-tech now and everything's more computer involved, but it seems like a fuel pump, is it really that much more expensive, the actual components than they used to be?
Correct. Modules can run anywhere $500 to $800 for the module, depending on the make, the model, manufacturer of the vehicle. And then you have the labor. The tank has to be emptied if it's full, because you can't lower it full, and the tank has to be removed from the car to replace it, so there's quite a bit of labor involved in doing so.
Now, even non-European cars, are there some that are more expensive than others because of the way they've been designed, or is it pretty much even killed across the board?
We've seen some of the late model Toyotas a little more expensive, but they come down sometimes a little bit as obviously the age of the vehicle gets a little older and it's not so new. But yeah, they do vary. Fuel pump replacements running anywhere from $800 to $1,500 with labor and components and things.
Now, when this goes out, it can leave you stranded. How often should you have these changed out?
Well, we always wait until they actually fail, to be honest with you. So we've been seeing a lot of them in domestic vehicles around 100,000 miles they fail.
Okay. And the main thing, as we have up on the screen there, you should be able to definitely go to a high-tech or a very good qualified facility, because, again, it's one of those things, if you don't get it fixed right, it's a problem down the line.
Not fixed right, or if you have a cheaper aftermarket part installed that's not a high-quality part. There are good aftermarket parts, but the lower-quality ones that are cheaper trying to save money, in the end, tend to fail relatively quick. And because of the cost component, you obviously want somebody that's qualified to diagnose it properly. It wouldn't be real cost effective to get a $1,000 fuel pump installed and your problem's not fixed.
Very much so, and one of those things that you wouldn't know until after they replace it, then there you are.
Correct, exactly. So it's very important to a quality facility, diagnose the vehicle, quality components, OEM style component replacement, so that you get another 100,000 miles out of the fuel pump that you replace.
So are there any telltale signs, if you're just like me, a random driver, that it's the fuel pump that's the problem, or does it just go out like that?
Usually it just goes out. Usually what happens is you'll drive the vehicle somewhere when it's hot. There's a pump rotor inside, and the bushings wear out of them, and they tend to bind. You go into 7-Eleven, you come out, you try to start the car. It cranks but will not start. And then a lot of times if you let the car cool, the pump cools, it'll start. You need to have the vehicle looked at, because it's going to leave you stranded again.
You don't want to get stranded,
No.
no, that's for sure. All right, Brian, thanks so much for the info on those fuel pumps. A few things that we didn't know before. If you have a car question, you can launch it off to Brian. And actually, today's segment came from someone who was asking about the fuel pumps. His link is on our website at fox6.com. Just click on to Hot Topics.